Hi, everybody. My name's Joe K. It's Joe K Music, and welcome to another Day in the Underground. Today, I'm here with a very special guest. He goes by the name of Gibby Stites. We're going to talk about his brand new upcoming album. Welcome to iLLViLLE. Gibby Stites, man, thanks for coming to the show.
Hey, Joe, thank you so much for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem at all, man. I'm glad to have you on. I am very excited to jump into Welcome to iLLViLLE. I did get a chance to listen to it.
The
Fire.
advanced copy.
Fire, dude. Fire. Tell me what went into this project, man. Like, how long has this thing been getting worked on? Who was involved? Let's just start dissecting this thing.
Hell yeah. I mean, first off, dude, thank you for, saying it's fire, for even taking the advanced listen. For those who don't know, my man here got the advanced listen. Be very jealous. He heard it before the world. And yeah, man, Welcome to iLLViLLE is produced by Charlie Beans and DJ Immaculate. These are my right-hand men, if you would. Them two and Stir Crazy and Godsent. That's like my producer squadron. But for this particular project, me and Charlie Beans went to work on it, coming right off of working on my last album, Regularly Scheduled Programming. We started work on this like late 29. No, I'm lying. Late 2020. Sorry, my years are mixed up due to the whole quarantine thing. But we started work on Welcome to iLLViLLE late 2020, around the time Majik Ninja wanted me to make the 13th Wonder EP. I was kind of doing them simultaneously. So it's like they both got finished up. We rolled out with the 13th Wonder EP first because it was like their introduction project for me. They wanted that EP with the Majik Ninja family all up on it and all that to kind of introduce me to the fam. So with that said, yeah, we started work on Welcome to iLLViLLE late 2020 and we finished up probably like early 2021. Like it's been wrapped up for a while. Like we wrapped up the album before we started dropping the singles. And
Okay.
we've dropped like 6 singles at this point too. So it
Okay.
was a certain way we wanted to do the rollout, where we wanted to get a nice amount of the track list out in single form. That seems to be the thing a lot of people are doing this day and age, with attention spans, how they are and whatnot. So with that said, me and Charlie Beans and DJ Immaculate, it's such an organic product because DJ Immaculate is my hometown homie, like real life friend. We've been making music together since like 2013 or some shit. And then Charlie Beans is just my dude. Like we met in 2019 and we just connected on a level I'd never had with a producer, where we just got that chemistry, man. Like he sends me a stack of beats and I have no problem whipping them up real quick. And iLLViLLE was kind of a product of that. Like Charlie did 8 beats and Emac did 4 beats. And I think the 8 Charlie tracks that are on there, like not even to brag or sound cool, but I think we did those Charlie tracks within like a month, probably. Like them 8 tracks were all done within
Wow.
a month. And that was while simultaneously like writing and working on the EP, the 13th Wonder EP as well. Because me and Charlie, man, he was just sending me, we were so inspired. This is when we're finding out about the MNE deal. And it was kind of like, yeah, we got this EP and that's going to be finished, but let's just keep the ball rolling of this energy and creativity that I got. So Welcome to iLLViLLE was like my, how I wanted to present myself. I don't want to say necessarily to the world, but I always told myself like there are certain topics and things that I want to save to talk about until I have so many ears on me, so many eyes on me.
Yeah.
I said it recently. It's kind of like, who wants to get up in front of 10 people and tell your whole life story and all this deep shit or whatever. So
Yeah, I felt the journey as I was listening to the tracks, man. Like everyone, it hits so different. It has that nice grimy underground feel to it still, like those nice grimy tones to it. You had a lot of like I like the incorporation of the guitars and the production and stuff like that. Like it really kind of drew you in. And then as I progressed throughout the project, and especially when I got to the end, it just kind of got deeper and deeper and deeper. How cool was it? Like, you mentioned Charlie Beans and like, we're working with some of these people for a long time, and then you get signed to MNE, you start working on this project. Like, I'm sure you were ecstatic about it, but how about the people that you were bringing on the ride with you?
yeah, that was the thing too, because it's like, as I'm working on this EP with a lot of the MNE producers, I actually was able to bring Charlie Beans in on that too. But I'm telling Charlie and Emac, I'm like, yo, we're still working on our shit over here. Like this is the home team over here. This is the heart and soul of what makes Gibby Stites sound the way that it does. It's not just about the rapper, you know what I mean? It's also about the instrumentation that complements the rapper so well. So like I remember letting Charlie Beans know, like when I signed my contract, I told nobody, told none of my friends. I told my mom and I told my producers because they were going to be making beats that were going on these projects. So they had to know. So telling Charlie Beans, yo, I'm signing to Majik Ninja. He's from Detroit. So that to him was exciting in itself, you know what I mean? Because he's like, oh fuck, I've been buying these dudes CDs since like the 90s. You know what I mean? Like that's hometown shit for him. And then for DJ Immaculate, you know, just like he works on his own music. DJ Immaculate, he like sings and stuff, and he has his own journey that he does with music. So it's kind of like I brought him like I don't want to say new following, but like a lot of new listeners and a lot of new looks, you know what I mean, from a scene that he's not necessarily in. So they were both really excited to be working on this project for different reasons too. It's kind of like for Charlie, it was more diving into a world that's been around him. For Emac, it was like a brand new world that he did not know really even existed like that. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure, for sure. You know, music has always been interesting to me to listen to and kind of try to get into the mind of the artist. And, you know, one thing that I always think about when people are kind of putting themselves out there is, you know, how is it impacting the people around them that actually know them in real life, you know, beyond even the fans. You mentioned your mom, and you mentioned, you know, one of the only people you told was your mom, you know, which that should tell people about the relationship they it seems that you have with your mother.
Yeah. She was fucking proud, dude, because she remembers, you know, I've wanted to rap since I was like 8, 9 years old. Like literally used to steal all her cassette tapes if they were rap tapes. Like I would rewind cassettes until they fucking broke, you know, like the tape would pop out and stuff. But and then even furthermore, when I'm in high school, she remembers like she was there for the whole journey. Like I always funded my own shit, and I always like, because when I was in high school, I used to charge people for studio sessions. I got a laptop, I downloaded Cakewalk, and I would charge all the kids $10 a song for studio sessions to kind of fund my own stuff. But with that said, you know, we definitely, me and my mom, we went through the time when I was a kid of like, you need a backup plan, you need this, you got, you know, like, oh, that's not very likely. And not that she was always supportive. Don't get me wrong, she was always supportive. But yeah, I still remember letting her know that I signed the deal. She remembered driving me to the mall to buy Twisted CDs because I wasn't old enough to do so. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it definitely, I think it almost in some ways, I think it hit her on more of an emotional level than it did me, because she was like, oh fuck, my son really did that thing that he kept telling me he was gonna do. And she was already proud. She was proud just hearing the progression of my music and like seeing the videos of where my show started and where they got. She was already telling people my son's a rapper. Like she, you know what I mean? Very supportive. We grew that over the years because she watched how much I sacrificed for this shit. So
has she had a chance to listen to the project yet?
You know what? I actually have not shown her Welcome to ILLViLLE yet. She's gonna love it when she hears it. She's gonna fucking love it. I haven't shown it to her yet, and she listens to the music as it comes out now. Like back when I was younger and I was a teenager, I used to play her all the new shit before it came out. But now I just let her hear it as it comes out, because really, in this day and age, for me, it's more special that way. Like something about it, I kind of don't like showing the people close around me the music I'm working on. I like showing them the final product and just being like, letting them hear it with everyone else and seeing if they contact me. That's my favorite thing. I like knowing that the album came out and seeing, is my mom going to call me today? You know what I mean? Did she listen to it? Did my cousin Jay, did he listen to it? Is he going to text me with a bunch of fire emojis? I kind of like letting it unroll like that.
Were there any songs that didn't make the cut?
Yeah, there was. Let me think. So there was one song that didn't make the cut for a good reason. We pulled a track off of Welcome to ILLViLLE and put it on the 13th Wonder. The song I'm Good, which was like, that was like my premiere single. That was the same, my debut single on Majik Ninja, if you would. That was the first video they put out from me. And that song, actually, me and Jamie are working on 13th Wonder in the studio together. And once we got so many tracks deep, we took a little break one day, and I was just playing him tracks on my phone, shit off of iLLViLLE, stuff from the vault thing, just letting him know, like, yo, I'm always working on stuff. Check this out. And we pulled a couple tracks from different projects to put on 13th Wonder. One being Bad Company. We took that from like this boom bap EP. I work in vibes. So I have Welcome to iLLViLLE, which is a little all over the place, but it's still cohesive with the storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have other projects I work on, like, oh, this is going to be all 90s beats. This is going to be all old school boom bap rapidy shit, you know? So with that said, we pulled the song I'm Good off of Welcome to iLLViLLE and put that on the 13th Wonder just because it was like a ready to go track. I had a video ready to go for it, and it was like why not slap it on there? And there was a song called Weekend at Gibby's that we wound up cutting. It was like Weekend at Bernie's, but Weekend at Gibby's.
Yeah.
It was just a party song, and I can't remember why we cut it. I want to give some kind of cool story. Like, it's gonna come out one day. It's not cut for good. It just didn't necessarily fit the vibe of this album.
I'm gonna be leaking that crap right after this interview. No.
Yes, Weekend at Gibby's leaking in 30 minutes, y'all.
No, that's interesting though, man. That's very interesting. I always like to kind of get the inside scoop on how songs are getting shuffled between projects, and sometimes something doesn't necessarily fit that vibe, like you were saying. Like, you work in vibes. Well, people like to listen to things in vibes too, especially nowadays. Like, although people's attention spans may be dwindling, people get in moods and they look for music to fit that mood that they're in,
Exactly. And, like when we were working on 13th Wonder, we're nearing the end of the recording process for it. I just felt like it was a little too uppity, a little too happy all around. Like, I didn't, and I'm like, a big thing of what I do is what I call mental health music. I'm sure other people call it that too, but I call it mental health music, and because, like, I really do have issues that I struggle with, and I am depressed a lot, anxious a lot. So it's like, I do cover these like sad topics a lot in my music. Really, I think I cover them more in a way that's like, I shall prevail. Like, I'm gonna rise. Like, I don't think I necessarily am like a down and out kind of rapper. I think it's more like, yo, I'm feeling this way, but we're gonna do better. So with that said, as we're working on the 13th Wonder, I was just kind of like, man, we need some of that mental health music in here. And that's where we pull Bad Company and we pull I'm Good, and we throw them on there to kind of round out what's going on. Because me in the studio with Jamie, I'm genuinely happy and I'm genuinely excited. So those couple days, we're just making some banging ass music. But then I step back and I'm like, hold on, I still need that shit that comes when I'm alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. What would you say the mood or the vibe is that people should expect for Welcome to iLLViLLE?
Man, the vibe I say is like, go and get it. Like, I'm like, goddamn, like, just coming from nothing and making something out of it. Just like, I almost sound so cliche because I feel like a lot of rappers say that same thing, but really just like being doubted and talked down to, and still like, I'm going to prevail. I'm going to do well at the end of the day. I'm going to do my best all the time. That's really like the overall theme of the project. And now when I say that and you listen to it, you're going to hear what you're listening for. So like, there's some shit talking in there, no doubt. You got your shit talking songs where I'm just talking about smoking my weed and I'm rhyming really well, and I got the metaphors. But as far as like the content, when you really listen, the track list is laid out the way that it is for a reason. So you really never get something twice in a row. Like, you're not going to get two shit talking songs back to back. You're going to get like, oh, this is real introspective. Oh, that shit goes hard. Oh, this one's a storytelling song. And then it might, you know what I mean? Some of the vibes, even if they repeat, they're never going to be next to each other, though. It's never going to be like, oh, he's smoking weed 3 times in a row. Cut this album off. I see what he's doing here.
Yeah, hey, you can't please everyone, man. I mean, you know how it is. Everyone's gonna have their opinions, of course, but yeah, I definitely felt that vibe that you're describing when I was listening to the project. And one thing I really enjoyed about the project too, and I always try to point this out when I'm doing like album reviews or I'm talking about someone's work, like the fact that you didn't have 3 million features on the project speaks volumes, because people that are coming to listen to your music, they're coming to hear you. And so if they're coming to a project and it's literally just riddled with like every song has 2 features on it, it kind of takes away, like I feel like it takes away from really understanding and knowing the artist and building that connection with them. And to me, when I saw the tracks coming through right out the gate, first thing I checked, how many features we got going on here, and I could tell that you were very selective, and the features were very well placed. Like,
Yes.
they were well placed. Tell me about the features that people should expect on the project. If you had a favorite feature,
Yeah,
you
definitely.
know.
So those two features on the project, only two, 12 tracks, 10 solo tracks. And like you were saying, I spaced them out to where you get through, I think, like 8 songs on the album before you hear a feature. Like you get a solid half an hour of Gibby before you even hear another voice come in. And
Mm-hmm.
we got UB on there, formerly of Strange Music and Cess Crew, who's just one of my favorite fucking artists of all time. It might not show up on here, but I got his name tattooed on my arm right here where I met him, open for him in 2019. And like Cess Crew was one of my favorite duos, but as time has progressed, man, like that man as a solo artist, I saw him on tour with Wax in 2019 and I opened for him and seeing his solo set for the first time, just I always fucked with him as a solo artist. I had bought the Under Bad Influence project when it came out. I always listened to Matter Don't Money, his first solo project on Strange Music. But seeing him perform live, it changed a lot of things for me, man. As far as like, I never had a hype man, but I always thought I was gonna need one. And I saw UB up there with nobody, all by himself, and the way he commanded that stage. Now, look, I'm sure there are dozens of other rappers who also can do that, but it was who made it a thing for me. And UB, goddamn dog, just such a talent, such an inspiration to me. And then when I met him, he was such a good dude. He was down to kick it. I rapped, man, I rapped a verse to him that was like 20 years old, one of his verses. And he picked up and finished it to where I was like, oh, I feel like an asshole because I wasn't even trying to like question you. But he remembered this 20-year-old verse from anyway, I could fan out on my man's for a while.
Wait. What verse was it?
It was a song called Give Up from goddamn their first album ever. The album was called Capture Enemy Soldiers. The song was called Give Up. And it was the hook where he's like, this is when y'all supposed to give up. Suppose we get buck. We don't give a fuck. Shut up, doubling up. And that's all I knew. I only knew that part. And he picked up from there and finished the whole thing. And I
Wow.
remember looking at him because I was like, bro, that's 20 years old. Nobody even really knows that song. But he really had his lyrics locked and loaded, ready to go like that. He was a good dude too. So with that said, we got UB on the album. I just wanted to give my fandom real quick so people know what that means to me because that was really a personal thing. Obviously, it's a great look too because he's a fucking one of my favorite of all time, and he did so much with Strange Music. Shout out to him for going independent, by the way. The game out now by Ubiquitous. So we got UB on the album, man. To know that he was down to work with me, like we really worked on that, and I kicked him the topic, I kicked him the beat. He liked it, he enjoyed it, he promoted it when it came out and all that. Just so many things about it. He's been so supportive. That's dope as fuck to me. So we got UB on Gone with the Wind, and then we got Sempra, SXMPRA. This is my homie from New Zealand. Now, Sempra is like, he's popping in the SoundCloud scene. He's part of a collective called Schema Posse. Schema Posse was the origins of Ghostmane. Schema Posse is where Lil Peep started. Like a lot of SoundCloud legends and such kind of birthed from this clique, and he's a part of that now. So that's kind of a whole different world than where I sit with Majik Ninja. And that's what I really loved about bringing these features in because, I bring in UB. And at the time when I did the track, he was still signed to Strange. So Strange and MNE, that's not that far off, I feel, like they're in the same realm.
Absolutely.
But this kid, Sempra, man, being from New Zealand, he's popping on SoundCloud. I never saw anybody in this specific underground scene really know about him. And he spits rapid fire. He's just so dope with it. So to me, getting him on a track is like such a rarity because he's someone I'm a personal fan of. And I truly feel like he's that dude that's going to blow the fuck up sometime in the next 5 years. And I know that, like, I was on that shit ahead of time.
Yeah.
Like,
and that song that he's on, Sounds, that song, it has such a unique feel to it too. And like, you get, like, tell me about that song. Like, when you were creating that song and you were like thinking of the feature, or did you already know you were going to feature him on the song? Like, tell me about the creation of that song and how that went down.
So there was actually a couple features I had in mind that didn't go through for that record before I landed on Sempra. So I knew I wanted someone from the SoundCloud scene. just because like I used to do a lot over there. I used to upload my music to SoundCloud in 2013 and shit. And there's a rapper named Bones, Team Sesh, who he's just one of my favorites of all time, man. He's just this underground rapper. He's done some shit. He's done shit with like ASAP Rocky and stuff. Like, but he has like one of them cult followings. He has this thing called Team Sesh. It's not necessarily a record label, it's more of just a collective. And I've been following this dude for so long. So anyway, I wanted to get Bones on the record first. And I had hit up Charlie Beans specifically, and I was like, yo, try to make like he never tries to make a beat that sounds like the other artist. He tries to make something that sounds like both of us. So I hit him up and I said, try to make something that sounds like Bones and Gibby Stites, Team Sesh and Gibby Stites. And so with that said, he made this beat with this rapper Bones in mind. Then when I couldn't necessarily, I was like, all right, the Bones thing fell through. I was going to get Ross Dylan Ross on it because he's from the same scene too. And then somehow, I don't remember how, but I wound up just talking to Simper one day and we're kicking it on Instagram. And he was like, whoa, like you got something you can send over right now. He said, I'll never forget it. He was like, I'm getting a tattoo and then I'm going to the studio. You want to send something over? And I'm like, what are you going to write it as you're getting tattooed? So I remember thinking, I was like, I got the perfect beat for him. And I sent him the track with the hook and my verse already on it. And the space hollow when I sent him the track, it literally said sounds for Bones. Like it said open verse for Bones. And I was like, don't disregard that. It's for you, bro.
Nice,
So,
man.
yeah, so I was going for a like a Team Sesh type vibe, which again, it's just a rapper and like a scene that I'm real inspired by and shit. So we were going for a certain vibe. We had different people in mind, and we wound up landing on Simpra. And I love the way he came on that track because he's usually very rapid fire, and on this one, he came more like more slow and thought out, and then he kind of kicks it up near the end. He
Yeah.
flips his flow up.
Yeah, the beat on there is crazy too.
Hey,
Like,
shout out to Charlie Beans, man.
yeah, the beat on that thing, like it really sucked me in there, and I'm like, I didn't know what to expect, and it kind of threw me for a loop when he came in, and I was like, whoa, I just wasn't expecting it because I'd never heard him before. So it
Right, his
was,
voice, man, it sounds like some old like Bone Thug shit or something. The way his
yeah,
voice is.
yeah, it was cool. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. Um, so there's one track on this entire project that stuck out a lot to me. Um, all the tracks are quality tracks. I don't want to take away from the project as a whole, but one of the last tracks on this project, "Help Me."
Yes.
Tell tell me about that song.
So Help Me was one of the ones. It was written last year. Help Me was written before before I went out and did the 13th Wonder. It was written like but I want to say I honestly wrote that one before I even found out I was getting a deal. Like that was but what that song is, I had a few beats picked out like that. And I was gonna do a few songs with that same vibe, but when I did the one, it couldn't even be duplicated. I was like, this shit is just so real. The timing in which it came out. I was genuinely going through issues with my job. The quarantine situation was happening, so hours are getting cut. I got bills I can't pay. I had relationship things going on with a chick at the time, and it was just like a lot of things were really crashing down. And Charlie Beans had he always has beats for me. I go to my email and I got beats at all times that I can listen to. And I remember specifically just like I was like, man, I need something serious. Like I really need to write something. And in this day and age too, that doesn't happen as much as it used to because like I work, I live, I got bills to pay, things to focus on. So I don't like it's how do I put this? When I was younger, I used to be able to just sit there and feel songs out as much as I could. I could spend the whole day after school vibing out to a beat and like I got to get my emotions out. Nowadays I go to write a track and it's like, all right, I got to get this shit done. We got to make some heat. We got to make this. I got these ideas. So this track in particular was one of them days where I was feeling down and I was like, I'm just going to lock myself in my car, not in my room. I locked myself in my car with these songs. I was like, I'm going to lock myself in my car and I'm going to write this fucking song. And I don't care about any responsibilities I have today. I don't care about talking to anybody. And it was really like a therapy session for myself. And I almost hate telling them stories because it's so cliche because everybody's like, my music is my therapy. But it really fucking is. Like I really do suffer. I live with like general depression and generalized anxiety disorder, type 2 bipolar, a lot of things that I don't talk about in detail, but I talk about enough for the people who go through it as well to pick up on it. But that song in particular with Help Me, I think I got deeper on that one than really any of the other ones. And I don't, there were lines in there in the first verse that I almost cut out. Like I was like, maybe I shouldn't, I don't want people to worry about me because the shit was that
Yeah.
realistic to me, you know. But I wound up keeping it exactly the way that I wrote it. And one of the things about that track I'll never forget was I sent Jamie Madrox from Twisted a lot of the Welcome to ILLViLLE songs to review like late last year. And that song in particular, I remember he showed a lot of like to it. He was like, I really fuck with that one. That should be a single. Like, so that gave me the confidence right off the rip where I was like, all right, cool. Cause I sent him a batch of tracks and there's a lot of hot shit in here, but for that one to stand out to him, I'm like, all right, cool. And then when we dropped it as a single, so many people said that they related to it. And I was in the position to tell them, you know, they're like, man, I relate to this. I was in this dark place. And I'm like, well, you don't even understand because me putting this song out put a knot in my stomach. So you guys telling me you relate to it is making me not feel alone now because I was feeling alone as fuck when I wrote it. And I'm almost feeling like a loser for putting it out. Like I'm complaining to the people who listen to me. Then they listen to it and they're like, dude, I'm so happy you said that. It makes me like, man, it's a surreal feeling.
Yeah, yeah, it kind of comes full circle, you know. I mean, that's the thing about, you know, music and especially like underground music. Like underground music and from underground artists kind of hits people in a totally different way, and people get attached to the story of the artist, and like they want to know as much information about the artist that they enjoy listening to as possible. And so when they hear that coming from the music, it gives them something to connect to. But at the same time, like especially for a song like that, you kind of put it out there, and from what you're describing, it seemed like you were maybe a little hesitant, even though like you got Jamie kind of giving you the nod, and like, you know, you got people around you that are like, hey, you need to put this out. Like other people see it, but when you're in that mode, in that moment, it's hard to see, and it's hard to know if people are really going to connect or if they're just going to kind of like judge you on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And it's easy to also feel like, man, like I'm talking about myself too much, you know, like, is this
Mm-hmm.
universal? I'm literally talking about myself right now. But then it's like through talking about, you know, people go to AA meetings and you go to an AA meeting and you hear somebody tell their story. You know what I mean? And whether you're the one who's speaking or not, like a lot of people go just to listen. I mean, you know, a lot of people go because they're forced to go, but you know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah,
in
yeah,
recovery
yeah.
and but I don't know, like it's kind of that same vibe. I like to feel like when I was a kid, my mom used to take me to NAAA meetings a lot with her. I used to ask to go. I was interested. So with that said, I think I picked up on a lot of how I approach songs like Help Me from that, from being in that. I remember being 12 years old and sitting in an AA meeting and hearing a guy telling his life story and like parts of it would make me want to cry, parts of it would make me laugh, but at the end of the day I felt like I was learning so fucking much. And I got to remind myself that my music can do that too. Like, yeah, you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about yourself, but you're talking about something that somebody's relating to out there, or maybe they're not relating to it, but maybe it's inspiring to them. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That to me was my favorite song. That's the one that I heard, and like I didn't go into listening to this project because I wanted to listen to it all the way through, like in its entirety from start to finish. And so I sat there and I listened to this project, and I really had like I didn't really have like an expectation of what I needed to hear. I just kind of let it happen, and as I was listening throughout the project, you get so many like different emotions from start to finish. And I think it really kind of ended on that note of like you had these ups and downs, kind of like the story you were telling from when you were in those sessions listening to like AA meetings and stuff. Like you have some parts where you're like kind of like chuckling, you have some parts where you're kind of like, oh yeah, here we go, like this is the vibe right here. And then you have some like towards the end you're like, dang, like this has got real, you know, and you're leaving me on this, you know, and you're kind of like, but it kind of leaves you waiting for that next, you know, that next follow up. Then like what's coming next, and you know that's what I want to ask you. What's coming next? You drop this project here. Welcome to ILLViLLE. Well, are dropping. When's the official release date?
September 17th.
Okay, so September 17th. Let me see what day of the week that is here. That's
It
coming up.
is
That's
Friday.
Friday. Friday. So
Yes.
by the time this drops, it's probably going to be like the next day or, you know, 2 days away. So make sure you guys are tuning in and checking that out. I'm going to make sure there's a link to the project in the description of this video so that you guys can go get the project. Support the man. You know, he put his blood, sweat, and tears into this project. So
Hell yeah.
make sure you're going and supporting.
A lot of sweat, a lot of tears, little bit of blood. Not a lot
Yeah.
of blood.
Yeah.
A little bit of blood.
He saved the tears for the end, you know?
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. I gotta save the tearjerker for the end.
No, but what's coming, man? Like what can we expect from you, you know, once this drops?
So, like we just said, welcome to ILLViLLE, Friday, September 17th. And immediately after that, we have Gibby's Day Off, the show going down in Rhode Island. It's going to be an all-day event in Providence, Rhode Island. And we also have Hollow Bleed with Buckshot, Boondocks, Gibby Stites, and more going down in Louisville, Kentucky, October 16th. So we got shows lined up for the month of October. And I have a Halloween release that I have just got ready. It's like fresh off the press. It's mixed, it's mastered, it's ready for the people's ears. ILLViLLE has to get a little bit of shine on, and then it's not going to be long before I hit y'all with something else, though. That's what I'm going to say. So expect Halloween drops. I'm all about the holidays, and I am not going to waste any time when it comes to new merch and new music, even following ILLViLLE. So
nice. I'm waiting for the nice little Halloween horrorcore classics that are going to be coming up here soon. And
yeah, man, we're gonna get flooded with them any week now.
Yeah, dude, all of October, it's when it starts hitting. I'm looking forward to it. One thing we didn't touch on, but I want to make sure we give some love to, that artwork is fire.
Yo, shout out to Justin Parker of Horrible Home Video, aka Killator of Corpse Circus. That is my right hand dude when it comes to the artwork. I told myself a couple years ago, my goal in life is to be able to have Justin design all my shit. And look at me, I made it. I did it. Shout out to Justin. That's my best friend. But he really, dude, he put, well, like, we're talking about the work I put into the album and the work the producers put in. He put in a lot of work on this artwork, man. He did everything from the front cover, all the CD packaging, the t-shirt, the beanie, the flag and poster, the flyers that I've been pressing. So he really went all out with this shit. We came up with the idea that we were going to do Goosebumps themed flyers for my albums back in 2019. Like, we're trying to give people something to collect. You know what I mean? So you want to collect that flyer. The last album wasn't directly Goosebumps influenced, but we made the flyer like it. This one, Welcome to ILLViLLE, is a direct reference to One Day at Horrorland, which was one of my favorite books as a kid. And because I was born in the 90s, so I really grew up reading Goosebumps. Like, that was really my shit. So with that said, man,
it's all coming back. It's all coming back, man.
Comes full circle, baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Shout out to Justin Parker, man. He really killed that artwork, and he captured the essence perfectly.
Yeah, he did a great job, and I've watched his work throughout the years as he's worked with a lot of different artists that I've followed throughout the years, and I mean, it's always immaculate work, man. Like, it's absolutely crazy what he does, and the way he is able to capture that vision and like take like a theme or an idea and like make it his own. You know, like that,
flip it.
That's what I feel like he really specializes at, is like, of course he can create his own stuff from scratch, but like when you tell him like, hey, I'm looking for this theme, he'll take that crap and turn it into a masterpiece. Like,
yes. And I've been seeing it since I remember in high school in like 2010 when he had Corpse Circus, and they had like these Corpse Circus garbage. They look like garbage pail kids.
Yep.
And I remember that shit caught my interest. And then 8 years later, I find Horrible Home Video, and I was like, you're the same fucking guy. Like,
yeah, absolutely, man. It's crazy, but no, it's cool, man. I think it kind of it shows the quality of work that people should come to expect from you, and it goes from the music all the way to the merch to the album art and everything else. Like, this should really be something that people can, collect, and I hope that they go out and they buy that merch, man, and they spend those big dollars and all those clout tokens on that Gibby merch.
Hell yeah, I appreciate the blessings of clout tokens and such.
Yeah, anything else, man? Anything else you want to cover?
Man, not I think we got it all. Welcome to ILLViLLE. Halloween things on the rise. You can catch me in Rhode Island very soon. You can catch me in Kentucky very soon. Gib TVs every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on youtube.com/Gibby Stites. I do my own little podcast where you can just come hear me talk about things that interest me. And that's about it, man. I really appreciate you having me on here. Shout out to Charlie Beans, Justin Parker, DJ Immaculate, Stir Crazy, all the homies, Chuck Reeves, everybody, man. Shout out, shout out, shout out.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. I'm glad we can make this happen, and project's fire, man. So I'm definitely excited to see how it does and see how many people start gravitating towards it. September 17th. Welcome to Illville. Gibby Stites. Link below. For now, my name's Joe K. It's just another day in the underground.